can email me, so you don't have to necessarily take notes, because I'll send you all those things afterwards. So, oh, actually, before I dive in, can I just deal with the first elephant in the room? Hands up here, who has kids? Okay, quite a few of you. Who here remembers being a child? Hopefully everyone, come on. Who here thinks I must be absolutely insane to take 3 kids around the world? Okay, that is the usual reaction. I thought I'd just address that, by the way. I'm going to talk about how we did that and the insane amount of preparation that we did in order to be safe, just so you don't think I'm some wild nut who goes and does these things. I'll come on to the second thing a little bit later on. So look, let's dive in. The first step for me is all about creating or writing your bold story of the future. And it was great to hear Jamil talking earlier about think, feel, act. And are you going towards something, or are you going away from something? Because I want to take you back to 2009, which is where the idea to go and do our family sailing adventure together really started. So back then I was running a small business. We were a business-to-business company. We were data analytics, based in Vauxhall in southwest London. And I was working 16, 18 hours a day in the business, working all the hours, barely saw my wife, barely saw my kids, so life was pretty crunchy because money was tight and our relationship wasn't in a great place. And it's in those moments, do you say, you know what, I want to run away from that pain that I'm in right now, or do I want to create a story of the future that's much more exciting than where I am now? So that's what me and my wife Nicola did. Rather than continuing to fight and say that this is a horrible place, we said, what does this look like up here that's really amazing? And this is Nicola here. And we sat down at our kitchen table for about 6 months. We got together most weekends. And we started to draw up a story of the future that was significantly more exciting than where we were back then. We went and drew it up as a vision statement. And we literally had there, 1st of August 2014, we're going to set sail around the world. We put in there an amount of money that we needed to create and how we were going to go and live this. Now, the moment that we came up with this list, everyone, including ourselves, started to come up with all the reasons why we shouldn't do it. And to be honest, there were lots of reasons. So the first reason is that we didn't have the money. By the way, the other thing that people normally say when they meet me for the first time is they say, your name's Caspar, you sound a little bit posh, you've got floppy Hugh Grant-like hair, you must have had bucket loads of money. Here's the reality, back then my business was turning over 400 grand, we were losing money, I couldn't have bought an inflatable dinghy, let alone a boat to sail around the world. So we definitely didn't have the money. Nicola, my wife, she couldn't sail, in fact she'd been on the boat twice and she'd been seasick both times. And we didn't have a boat either. So, lots and lots of good reasons why this plan should never have got off the ground. But I'm a great believer in this, right? That if you make a committed decision to go and do something, if you've got time and if you've got the energy, I think you can literally move mountains by going and really focusing on what's that story of the future that you want to go and create. So, what I'm showing here, it sounds simple, but we all know that simple is not the same as easy. But for me, it starts with coming up. What's the core of the story of the future? What's the single thing that defines where you want to go? That applies in your business, that applies for you, that applies for your home life. What's that story of where you want to go? And we had all sorts of different things. I wanted to build businesses, I wanted to create wealth, but the single unifying thing was we're going to get on a boat and go and sail around the world. And everything else followed that afterwards. It comes down also to the simplicity of the idea. Again, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your personal life. I remember back in the day, I used to work for KPMG, and we used to have all these really complicated vision statements about all this sort of stuff. And I remember reading those, and by the time I got to the end of the first paragraph, I couldn't even remember what the first word said. It was so complicated. And I came to the conclusion it doesn't really matter what's on a piece of paper, it only matters what you carry inside your head. That's the power of a really simple, powerful story. There's a brilliant book I've been reading recently, actually, called Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. And they talk about this idea of a core idea of paring everything back so that it's simple and powerful. That's the thing you're going to go and do. That's the thing you're going towards. Again, same thing that Jamil talked earlier about think, feel, act. The final thing there is all about embracing the feedback. All those reasons to not go and do our plan, they weren't reasons to say, oh, well, it's too tough. They were things where we said, okay, we hear all those reasons, let's write them all down, and we'll figure out the answer to those one at a time. If we try and answer them all together, we'd have been overwhelmed, and we would never have got off the ground. So it's embracing the feedback. Okay, how am I going to think about all these different challenges? How are we going to get the money together? How are we going to be safe? And really thinking in detail about all those things. The question I would pose to you, again, I'll send you these slides, is what's your story of the future for both your home team and your work team? Is there a simple, powerful core idea that's driving the story of the future? Where are you going towards? We made that shift from going away from this painful place of money being tight and relationship being an uncomfortable place to something that's super exciting. What's your stories? Okay, step 2. I'm going to talk a bit about my business. And the insight here is all about how do you create the culture of we, not me. We're in the time period 2009 to 2012, and this is my business partner, Ed.